Story 1. I would get a promotion, but the people who take the place of the baby boomers probably wouldn't offer me what my boss is making for the same job. Story 2. I could be wrong, but if the baby boomer generation spans from 1946 to 1964, the youngest baby boomer turned 60 this year. Story 3. I retired this year. I led a software testing team primarily composed of Generation Z employees and spent about 30% of my time on testing activities. We developed a great rapport and learned from one another. I still keep in touch with a couple of my former employees. A few months before my retirement, I effectively stepped down, allowing a younger individual to take over as manager. I am now pursuing music full-time, so I am still working, albeit for modest earnings. The transition was smooth. During my tenure, I contributed significantly by trying to grow the company, which enabled us to hire additional staff. There is no need to let go of effective employees, but when it is time to move on, the transition can be seamless. Story 4. We would see many high-level positions in almost every organization open up. This could be borderline catastrophic because I do not share the opinion that baby boomers are unskilled or lazy, but I have noticed that they do not prepare successors or consider succession planning at all. Story 5. Night shift in our hospital lab would lose 3/4 of the staff, including experienced lab technicians. This is not a good situation. Story 6. Baby boomers are now aged 60 and older, with the majority having already reached retirement age. They represent less than 20% of the current workforce. If they all left tomorrow, a significant number of jobs could open up, but there is no guarantee that they would. We would also lose a considerable amount of experience and expertise. Story 7. Do you remember how disrupted the supply chain was after the pandemic because many longshoremen, meatpacking plant workers, truck drivers, and others were not encouraged to enter those industries? That situation is now much worse. Story 8. Given the number of older individuals working in mainframe computing, the skill gap with younger engineers, and the number of critical functions that utilize mainframes, I would suspect an economic collapse. Story 9. There is a significant loss of skilled professionals from crucial fields. Additionally, there has been a substantial increase in healthcare and social service needs. Employment is the healthier choice for many individuals. Following retirement or later life unemployment, many people experience a rapid decline and require more support from society than they did while working. Story 10. As a baby boomer, my response is that the economy would collapse. Not because we are so great, but because many private companies will not hire and train younger employees. Many upper-level managers cannot see beyond the end of the current quarter. The quarterly bonus is everything. The future of the company and the lower-level personnel are meaningless. Story 11. Let's refer to baby boomers as individuals aged 65 and older for simplicity. This group accounts for about 11 million workers, or approximately 7% of the workforce. The actual percentage could rise to 23%, depending on the age range considered for baby boomers. Recall when the COVID-19 pandemic led to mass retirements? Approximately 2.5 million individuals retired more than anticipated, and an additional 300,000 workers passed away. Remember the narrative of nobody wanting to work? This situation is expected to be over 4 times worse this time, in addition to the fact that we have yet to return to pre-pandemic conditions. As occurred previously, many job positions will suddenly become available, resulting in numerous individuals being promoted or hired into more desirable roles. This will create a significant shortage of workers in low-paying jobs, which are essential for the economy's backbone. Moreover, even well-paying jobs will be challenging to fill, leaving those remaining in the workforce with increased workloads. Major supply chain issues will also affect the economy. Those baby boomers who have not yet retired are likely not doing so for financial reasons. In a best-case scenario, they may reduce their spending, which would harm the economy. In a worst-case scenario, millions of families could face home loss, leading to a housing bubble and further damaging the economy. Story 12. We would lose a significant amount of knowledge and expertise. The average age of a Fortune 500 chief executive officer is 57. The youngest baby boomers are 60, so there are likely many baby boomer CEOs. Losing them would have a big impact. Story 13. It's threads like this that help you realize that many people don't even know what a boomer is, but they'll still make comments. Story 14. A significant amount of institutional knowledge would be lost instantly, as if millions of voices cried out and were suddenly silenced. Story 15. There are many unproductive corporate jobs where people simply have to work full-time, likely without any pay increase. However, the CEO would be ecstatic. Story 16. A lot of crucial things would go wrong. I'm in the elevator industry. Most professionals with experience are older. There are a few capable younger technicians, but without the seasoned veterans, it would be a complete disaster. Story 17. Many major pieces of infrastructure would soon fail, including sewage treatment plants, refineries, and coal-fired power plants. Many of these facilities continue to operate due to the experience of older employees with real operating knowledge. Story 18. Many of them would likely struggle because they still need jobs to survive. Not every baby boomer is wealthy, just as not every American is wealthy or responsible for the world's issues. I appreciate my baby boomer relatives, all of whom have worked hard throughout their lives and continue to do so. I hope they will be around for a long time and can maintain their jobs. Story 19. The world would, for a time, descend into chaos. Many individuals are currently in positions with extensive knowledge of outdated systems and passwords, yet they have not been able to pass that information on to others. Story 20. If every person aged 60 and over retired, there would still be many people left working. Baby boomers were born between 1946 and 1964, so they are currently between 60 and 78 years old. Story 21. The incompetency crisis became immediately apparent to everyone as things started falling apart. Story 22. There are many jokes about the situation, but the reality is that the global economy would collapse. This is not because older generations hold any unique value in the workforce, but due to the sudden loss of a large number of workers. If these workers phased out over 1 to 2 years, there would likely be minimal impact except that corporate profits might increase even more. The departure of highly paid workers would result in younger generations being pushed to take on the same jobs, or multiple jobs, for significantly lower wages. Story 23. Why is this question directed at older generations? If any demographic group were to stop working, there would be a significant loss in productivity. While older individuals typically have smaller contributions, those who are still employed are compensated for their expertise. Story 24. All IT systems would deteriorate. The younger generations are focused on the latest software as a service solutions while forgetting that everything is held together by duct tape and a random script that Jerry wrote in COBOL in 1996. Story 25. Inflation leads to increased demand for labor, causing companies to offer higher wages to attract employees. In turn, companies raise prices to offset these costs. Story 26. We would face significant challenges. Some individuals from the older generation possess essential institutional experience that is crucial for maintaining operations. Power plants, transportation systems, hospitals, and the military are all areas at risk of disruption, which could lead to dire consequences. We often take for granted the countless decisions and solutions made daily to sustain our civilization. Story 27. The birth date range for boomers is generally recognized as 1946 to 1964. This makes their age range from 78 to 60. Most boomers are retired. So what effect would it have? Not much, except that Capitol Hill would be emptied and left with the likes of Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert. Therefore, change my answer from not much to absolute chaos and the death of democracy. Story 28. I will have many happy Generation Z friends in 2 to 3 weeks when they finally get basic entry-level jobs from the trickle-down effect of these baby boomers leaving. Story 29. Boomers left the job market during COVID-19. You will need to find another reason for your unemployment. Story 30. Electronic design would fall behind for about 5 to 10 years. I am an electrical engineer, and older generations are our encyclopedia. Story 31. Most baby boomers are already retired or deceased. Not much would change other than the political landscape having many open positions. Story 32. I need to find an endless supply of interesting projects for my 73-year-old dad. He still does remodeling, fixes cars, and delivers parts for an auto shop. I got him into gardening and raising chickens when he's semi-retired from construction. He also took up baking, but if he doesn't constantly have something to do, I don't think he would be okay. Story 33. Most baby boomers have reached or are approaching retirement age, so there may not be a significant impact. However, a considerable amount of institutional knowledge and experience will be lost. Story 34. I am confident the original poster uses the phrase, "Okay, boomer," when speaking to Generation X and even millennials. Baby boomers stopped being born in 1964, so most are already retired or nearing retirement. Losing the entire Generation X would be devastating, as they and older millennials are the only remaining groups in the workforce with a strong work ethic. Story 35. Boomers have valuable knowledge because they grew up in a different era. While not everything they know is optimal or entirely correct, they possess insights that others may not have, and this knowledge could be lost forever if they stop sharing it. Story 36. You would realize that most of the people you think are baby boomers are actually Generation X. Baby boomers are all over 60 years old, and there aren't that many of them in active employment, outside of the US government anyway. Story 37. I am the oldest person in my department, and I am also the most productive. Output would decrease significantly. Story 38. Technically speaking, most baby boomers are already retired. Baby boomers refers to the generation born after World War II. Story 39. I am a baby boomer and not eligible for Social Security Administration benefits yet, so I am struggling financially. I am only 60 years old. Please stop categorizing me with the silent generation. Story 40. I read this article when it was first published and pasted it here for your reading pleasure. How the baby boomer exodus will imbalance the Canadian workplace. Andrew Seal. Special to the Globe and Mail. The last of the baby boomer generation will be turning 65 in 2030, marking a pivotal moment in a demographic squeeze that has loomed over Canadian workplaces for years. By then, most of this generation will be retired, and the labor market will face a new reality. A large group of people with extensive experience and wisdom will exit our labor market, says Rafael Gomez, a professor and director of the University of Toronto Centre for Industrial Relations and Human Resources, who has extensively researched aging demographics in the working population. Currently, 1/3 of workers in Canada are millennials, with Generation X close behind at 29.5% and Generation Z at 17.6%. However, Generation X has been routinely passed over for promotions, meaning their experience levels may not completely fill the void left by retiring boomers. They are also vastly outnumbered by younger generations. This, says Mr. Gomez, may cause the labor market to lose its delicate balance, with some industries facing more dramatic upheavals than others. At last count, there were around 700,000 unfilled jobs in the country, most notably in food services, healthcare, social services, and construction. Mary Van Buren, president of the Canadian Construction Association, says the construction industry alone currently has about 61,000 vacancies. We expect about 245,000 retirements by 2032 and around 240,000 people to replace those, says Ms. Van Buren. With a shortfall of 5,000 from retirements and the current 61,000 vacancies, she estimates the industry has about 66,000 roles to fill in the immediate future. We have a huge recruitment job to do. It's the same across skilled trades. With around 700,000 skilled trades workers expected to retire by 2028, the Canadian Apprenticeship Forum estimates an average of 75,000 new apprentices will need to be hired per year over the next 5 years to meet the demand for skilled journeypersons in red seal trades. The trades most at risk of not meeting that demand include welding, industrial mechanics, bricklaying, boilermaking, cooking, and hairstyling. Ms. Van Buren says one of the challenges of filling these roles is the perception of skilled trades. Most of us went through school and were told that university is the desirable career path, she says. Many shop classes were eliminated in high schools, and with the federal government's immigration point system, higher education equals higher points. Ms. Van Buren expresses serious concern about filling these roles at a critical time for infrastructure growth across Canada. But it's not just the ability of organizations to hire the talent they need. The boomer exodus is also creating an imbalance between experience and technical innovation. Mr. Gomez notes that younger generations tend to come in with a better grasp of emerging technologies and ideas for moving organizations into the future, while older generations possess insights and institutional memory that can better predict the failure of an idea. Both are necessary, he says, but as his research shows, they need to be balanced. You don't want too many people in those positions saying no to every new idea because occasionally those ideas are different, says Mr. Gomez. On the flip side, an economy or an organization that doesn't have enough gatekeepers might just produce ideas that can cause an organization to fail. Story 41. Gen X would dismiss the lot of them, fix whatever we can for the millennials, hand everything over to Generation Z, and take early retirement. Story 42. Chaos. Absolute chaos. It would be amusing to watch all these kids running around, having no idea how to work on core infrastructure, do repair work, or use a can opener. That video of a Generation Alpha child using a can opener as performance art comes to mind, and I might just die laughing. Story 43. I know everyone wants to hear there will be many job opportunities. However, I am concerned that there would be a significant loss of institutional knowledge as well. Story 44. At my work, we would be significantly impacted because I work for a school bus company, and at least a third to half of our drivers are in their 60s or older. Story 45. If every baby boomer quit their jobs tomorrow, it would cause massive disruption across various sectors. Here is a quick rundown of the potential impacts. Economic shock. The sudden exit of millions of experienced workers would lead to skill gaps, especially in fields like healthcare, education, and manufacturing, causing short-term chaos and productivity loss. Labor market shift. Younger generations would quickly move into leadership roles. While this could open opportunities for advancement, the transition might strain businesses as they lose experienced mentors and leaders. Increased wages and hiring. With a shortage of workers, companies may offer higher salaries and benefits to attract and retain talent, possibly resulting in a temporary wage boom for younger employees. Rise in automation. Businesses might accelerate investments in automation and artificial intelligence to fill the gaps left by baby boomers, potentially reshaping industries and reducing certain entry-level jobs. Impact on social systems. Retirement systems and healthcare services would experience increased demand as baby boomers retire en masse, potentially straining resources and requiring policy adjustments. Cultural and family dynamics. With more time on their hands, baby boomers could engage more in family activities, volunteer work, and hobbies, but they might also face challenges adjusting to retirement and potential financial stress. Overall, while the short-term effects might be disruptive, this hypothetical scenario could accelerate changes in the workforce, economy, and societal structures. Story 46. Most baby boomers are retired in my country or about to retire. The youngest baby boomers are 60 years old. It's time to find someone else to blame for your struggles. I suppose Generation X should be the next target. Story 47. My industry, which is in the power quality sector adjacent to construction, would cease to exist overnight. Construction would grind to a halt because nearly every successful company relies on experienced journeymen. I can only imagine it would be similar in almost every other industry. We often joke about older generations, but they hold decades of valuable knowledge and experience that would vanish if they all quit tomorrow. Unfortunately, we are already headed in that direction, as the last of the baby boomers are nearing retirement. We are in crisis mode trying to determine how to address this issue because, despite good pay in union shops, many younger people are only considering desk jobs when choosing careers. We are heading for a crisis in the construction and maintenance industry, and we are already experiencing it. It will likely worsen. Everything from new construction to home repairs and maintenance will deteriorate rapidly. In the next 10 to 15 years, you may not be able to get anything fixed around your house for 6 months to a year. I guarantee it. Story 48. You would see significant decreases in the quality of service and performance from public service jobs such as public utilities, air traffic control, higher education, and hospitals. Story 49. Younger employees would lose mentors and institutional knowledge that are crucial for training and development. Story 50. The youngest cohort of baby boomers is turning 65 years old, and those who can retire are exiting the workforce. Baby boomers currently make up 10% of the United States workforce. Story 51. Many younger individuals have opportunities to enter jobs they may have believed were out of reach, as these positions have often been occupied by long-term employees. Story 52. Many baby boomers would be competing for low-cost housing or outfitting their vehicles for living in, especially if you include the late boomers who have faced similar challenges as Generation X. I could probably manage, particularly if I got a roommate, but I need a few more years of saving and investing to retire modestly. To those who criticize baby boomers, I could never afford a house on one income. Wealthy individuals have consistently taken advantage of me just as they do now to you. While my university costs and loans were minor compared to yours, I fully recognize that. I know that pulling oneself up by one's bootstraps often refers to something that is impossible. I don't believe that avocado toast has anything to do with why you live paycheck to paycheck. Lastly, I have no interest in speaking to your manager. I know you don't work here. Feel free to use any pronouns. I will do my best to accommodate. If someone who identifies as gay asks me to marry them, I will politely decline. However, I will extend my congratulations and offer a present to those getting married, regardless of gender identity, preference, or relationship dynamics. Story 53. The younger generations would finally have a say in how they want to run things. The elders have been in control, and it is time to revoke their authority before they lead the planet to disaster. Story 54. Let's just say you will be instantly promoted to senior vice president. Then you will be the person people wish would disappear. So be careful what you wish for. Story 55. I would probably get a promotion. The only thing holding me back is one of our older managers who refuses to retire. Story 56. Many individuals aged 65 and older still own their businesses. They may not be part of the labor force. Some hold upper management positions or work in government roles. We would experience business and labor shortages similar to those during the COVID-19 pandemic. Story 57. A significant number of individuals from the baby boomer generation still need to work because they do not qualify for full Social Security benefits until they turn 67. Many of these individuals either failed to contribute to a retirement plan or could not afford to do so, as they lived paycheck to paycheck with little extra money for anything beyond housing and food. I believe that politicians should also be required to retire at 67 when they qualify for full Social Security benefits. Story 58. Baby boomers today are between 60 and 78 years old. So I have news. Most of them have already quit their jobs. Story 59. My dad passed away last year, only 6 years into retirement. With him gone, your generation can lead the way in showing us how to solve the world's problems. Story 60. It depends on whether you mean literal baby boomers or the slang that includes Generation X or even Generation Y. The youngest of actual baby boomers will retire in 2 years, and 90% have already retired. If you mean adults, then the world would face significant consequences. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.